This first slide is just a basic overview of FDR, and I think this will be helpful to get the main points about him across to the audience early on in the speech. It introduces the topic of the speech and the subtopics that are going to be discussed later on. This slide is meant to provide a visual for FDR's campaign promise that I mentioned in the speech. I decided to keep it simple with just an image of the campaign slogan and a short description to accompany it. I think it's really helpful to visually see what FDR was campaigning for and what he was promising to Americans during the election of 1932. Next, this graph shows one of the positive impacts of the New Deal and how, as mentioned in the speech, it helped end the years long economic decline. This depicts how, when the New Deal was implemented, the economy finally started to recover. I thought that it would be helpful to have a visual representation of the true impact of the New Deal so the audience can see how it helped the American economy. This next slide contains a video of FDR declaring war on Japan following the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I have a cue to start at the desired time, and the clip is about 20 seconds long. The purpose of this is to introduce my second subtopic about FDR and his role during World War II. And then it'll just start. Next, I have the phrase fireside chats because I think it can be somewhat misleading. I added a picture showing FDR during one of his famous chats, so it gives the audience a visual for what the fireside chats really looked like, and I think this is helpful for when I'm describing it in connection to his legacy because you can really see how he established a connection between himself and the American people through the media. For the final slide, I included the quote that is towards the end of my speech. I think this quote is really impactful because it summarizes the true legacy that and influence that Roosevelt has had on the United States that can still be seen today. And I think rather than just hearing the quote, I think it's also really helpful to be able to read it because it's kind of just a great summary for the entire speech as a whole.